Hello and thanks for joining me today for part 2 of the hitch, haul, and road hazard training. In today's video we're going to go over how you can stay safe while you're out on the road. We'll talk about required tow vehicle sizes and mobile lab weight ratings, resources that you can find in the lab should you find trouble out on the road, tire pressure, what to do in case of a flat tire, and a few other scenarios that may occur. Before leaving the manufacturer, all trailers are equipped with either stickers or placards that include information about the trailer itself. Could be axle weight rating, total vehicle weight, as well as tire size and pressure. You can find this information usually on the front of the trailers. This one has it up on the front driver's side of the trailer. Other trailers you might find it up on the tongue. And it's always nice to look at this information before you haul your trailer so that you know that you have the proper size tow vehicle for the trailer itself. This includes any trailer, even if it's not a STEM K-12 trailer. Just any trailer that you ever haul, you definitely want to know more about your trailer so that you are equipped with the proper size vehicle to tow that trailer. The trailer that we're using today, which is the Environmental Sciences Lab, has a gross vehicle weight rating of 3,175 kilograms or 7,000 pounds. So this trailer has the capacity, including its own weight, to be loaded until it reaches 7,000 pounds, and that's where it's rated. So with all the stuff that we put in these trailers, it's always good to just assume that that's about what you're going to be hauling down the road is 7,000 pounds. Now, this trailer and the stuff that we have in here for programming and whatnot, there's a lot of stuff in there, but I don't think it's going to come up to 7,000 pounds. But you definitely want to make sure that the vehicle you tow this with can handle 7,000 pounds, just to be on the safe side. That will prevent any potential troubles that you might find on the road due to improper matching of your tow vehicle to the trailer. For this trailer, at a gross vehicle weight rating of 7,000 pounds, you're going to want, and this is true with all of the 4-H STEM mobile labs, you're going to want at least a half-ton vehicle. A half-ton vehicle is rated as a half-ton towing capacity, and it could be either a pickup truck or SUV or anything like that. Half-ton weight ratings, some of the vehicles now are getting to the larger mid-size SUVs, and of course all full-size rigs. My personal recommendation is that you use a full-size pickup truck or SUV of some sort, or even one of the county vehicles such as your vans. All your county vans should be plenty big enough to haul any of these trailers around. With that, we know that now we have a weight rating of 7,000 pounds on this trailer, and we have at least a half-ton truck in front to tow it. If you have a vehicle that's rated higher than a half-ton, 3/4 ton, or a 1 ton, then so you know that the larger the vehicle, the more capacity it has to handle what it's towing behind it. Adjusting the air pressure in your tires for the 4-H STEM mobile labs is quite easy. First thing we're going to do is we're going to look into the trailer, and you'll find that right inside the side door on the opposite side there is an air compressor. It's equipped with a tire nozzle so that you can air up your tires, and also a hose on a hose reel that you'll be able to extend out of the door here, and it will reach any tire on this trailer. Just the air pressure on the tires in these labs. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the side door, and I'm going to go in there and I'm going to see how much air pressure I have in the air compressor already. Each lab, like I said, has an air compressor. It's right up front on the driver's side, and these things are very handy to have in your mobile labs, because not only will they help you with any kind of road troubles that you might have as you're carrying your own air around, but it also helps with science programming if you're set up at an event. It's always nice if you're using the lab that before you send it to the next county for use, that we fill up these air tanks and bring them back up to pressure. They're already set. They'll take 125 pounds of pressure. This is a 21-gallon tank. So having this filled with air is really convenient if you need it, because it's enough air to be able to, if we have to, we could go and fill up all 4 tires with it. Again, they're here, they're plugged up here. I'm looking at this one. This one is not full, and typically you might not find them full. It just depends on who had the trailer last and if they filled it up or if they used the air compressor during their event. Today I see that this air compressor has just a little bit over 40 pounds of pressure in the tanks. So what I want to do before I leave, because I want to make sure that I have this full of air so that I have it if I need it, we're going to go around to the other side of the trailer and hook this trailer up, get the power going, and go ahead and let this tank fill up. Hooking up power to the STEM Mobile Labs is quite easy. Again, we went to the back and we got our adapter cord, and we have an outside outlet here on the front driver's side of the trailer. I'm just going to pull this pin here that's securing the outlet door, and I'm going to open that up. I'm going to take the adapter cord that I got out of the trailer, and I'm going to plug it up into the trailer first. I'm plugging it up into the trailer first because currently this is a mail-in plug. I'm going to plug it in the trailer so that that is secure and it's in place, and then I'm going to second add power to it. This is a power cord that I just have hooked up to a building, and I'm just going to, after it's plugged into the trailer, I'm going to plug it up into the power cord, and now this trailer has juice. Once we have power to the trailer, we're going to come back around to the air compressor, and we're going to turn it on and then let it fill up with air and adjust the air pressure in our tires, and then we're going to make sure it's full again before we shut her down again, and that way we have plenty of air stored just in case we might need it again later. So to turn this air compressor on, we're simply going to take the on-off switch here, which has got the little red tab. There's also instructions on the machine itself as far as startup guide and what to do, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this lever and now that we have a full tank of air, we're ready to air up our tires. To do that, I'm just going to take the hose that's on a hose reel right next to the air compressor itself. I'm going to step out of the trailer, and I'm going to give myself a pull enough hose to make sure that I'll be able to get under the tongue of the trailer and reach the other side. And once it clicks, then now I have this hose, and you can see I got air. Once you have the air hose reeled out and clicked into a locked position so it doesn't retract on you, you're going to need some air tools in order to get air in these tires, and also a tire gauge to check the pressure in the tire itself. These two tools they look like this. This is what you need for an air nozzle, and they simply just, it's a clip on the air hose. You just pull the collar back on the fitting and shove that in, and then let it go, and then now this is ready to put air in the tire. The air pressure gauge is just a dial gauge in this case, and you put it to the valve cover, and the pressure will move that needle and give you a reading of how many pounds per square inch that tire has in it. These tools and other tools for the air compressor use can be found in the toolbox, which is located right next to the air compressor. Each tire has a valve stem, and it's the little rubber nozzle that sits out of the rim here, and they all have caps. It's important to keep these caps in place when we're not messing with the tire, because they prevent dirt and other corrosion from happening inside the valve stem, and protects these valve stems. They are quite delicate in here. Should you get some dirt and things like that in there, and it's very easy if there's not a valve stem cover on this stem that you could experience slow leaks in this tire. So the first thing I want to do is take an air pressure reading and find out how much air pressure is in this tire. And I am reading that I have about 36 pounds per square inch. And so I'm going to add some air pressure. You'll see that this air pressure gauge is designed such that it will release air out of this side and also the back side. they put it on the backside here for a different type of tire. If you have a dually truck or something like that you're pulling with and you actually need to put air in your truck or the tow vehicle, and it has a valve stem facing the opposite direction than the road or the outside of the rig, then you can use that, stick it in there, and use this backside, and it will do the same thing as far as airing up your tire. For today, we're going to use this front side, and we're going to add air, and we're going to see where we can get this and see if we can't get it up to close to 45 pounds per square inch. And I am at 42, maybe a little bit more. Take another reading. And I am right at, I went a little bit over, so again I'm going to use the little nozzle on the bottom because I don't want 46 pounds. I want to give this tire enough room to expand. So I want to push that valve stem in and take another reading. All right, there we go, 45 pounds per square inch. Now I'm going to do that to all 4 tires on this trailer. Remember to put your valve cover on. That just screws on like a little cap, secured. Now this tire is ready to go, and I know that I'm safe for this tire. I'm going to go around the trailer and I'm going to do all 4 tires now to make sure that I have the same amount of pressure in each of the tires. Earlier I had mentioned that I want to leave enough room in there for the tire to expand and move around as far as its air pressure. Air pressure does change in a tire depending on weather, the heat that the tire itself is experiencing. These tires will heat up as you're rolling down the road. If you ever put your hand on the tire after it's been going down the highway for a while, you'll notice that it does generate heat. When tires heat up, the air inside does expand, and so it increases the pressure on this tire. So that's why I'm not taking this tire to 50 pounds per square inch, because it has a max of 52 pounds per square inch. What I'm saying is that by putting it at about 45 pounds per square inch, as the day gets hot or this tire heats up as it's going down the road, it will have room for that heat to expand that air inside, and then there will be a cushion in there to keep at a heated tire under that 50 pounds per square inch maximum rating. Tools you'll need from the hauling and road hazard kit should a flat tire occur while you're traveling down the road with one of the mobile labs includes a tire iron or a lug wrench, a jack, in this case a floor jack, a emergency warning triangle and flare kit, and the wheel chocks that we used earlier. Directly behind me, bolted to the side of the trailer, is the spare tire. It's right here. We'll go over how to get that out, and we'll use that spare tire and actually change out one of these tires to show you how to stay safe on the road while changing the tire. Should you have the unfortunate experience of a blown or flat tire while you're traveling with one of the mobile labs, there are a few steps that you need to take in order to make sure that you maintain your safety while working on the trailer. The first thing you're going to do is pull over or find a spot where you can pull over that is less traveled and level. We've done that here. As you can see, I have a mock set up here with the trailer, and you can see the first thing that I have done was engage my hazard lights so that I have my hazards going the entire time that I am out of the truck walking around and setting up. The second thing I'm going to do is set out my emergency road triangles so that oncoming or passing traffic will know that I am there and that I'm having troubles and I am working on the trailer. To do that, in the hauling and road hazard kit, you'll see a red box, and this is an emergency warning triangle flare kit. Inside you will find 3 emergency triangles that are collapsible. You can go and pull them out, and if you look on the inside, you can't see it on the video here, but trust me, they're here. There are instructions on how to assemble those triangles. They're very easy. They just fold up, clip at the top, and then they have a weighted bar down at the bottom to keep them on the ground. So those instructions are right here. I've already done that with our triangles today. There are other instructions in here as well, and they give you 2 scenarios for setting up your triangles. One scenario is on a two-way road, much like what we are on here. This road is designed for traffic. By saying two-way, we mean on one side of the road, traffic travels one direction, and on the other side, the traffic will travel the opposite direction. That is the first scenario here, and then the second set of instructions will tell you how to set those triangles up should you be on a divided highway or a four-lane road where all the traffic that you will experience passing you will all be traveling in the same direction, much like on an interstate or something like that if you pull over on a shoulder of that road. In these instructions, it will tell you that on a two-way road like we have here, you are going to set one triangle up at the vehicle that you're working on, and then 40 paces or 30 meters in front of that vehicle, you'll set another triangle so that traffic coming this direction will know that you are having road hazards, and they'll know to move over and slow down so that it provides a safe environment for you to change your tire. The third triangle will be behind the vehicle at another 40 paces or 30 meters, so that traffic that's coming from behind us will also know that we are having road hazard issues, and they will be able to slow down and move over so that we can maintain a safe environment to change our tire. If we were to pull over on a divided highway or a four-lane road where all the traffic is traveling the same direction, I would pull over, make sure you have as much room as you can from the white line on the side of the road to give you room to walk around the trailer safely. And the first triangle, much like here, would be at the vehicle, at the rear of the vehicle. 40 paces back, we would put the second triangle, but instead of putting the third triangle in front of the vehicle, we would travel another 40 paces beyond this triangle back this direction and place that triangle there. That way the traffic that is coming, both lanes of traffic that is coming this direction, would have ample time to slow down, move over to the left lane, and give us plenty of room to maintain that safe environment. Access to the road hazard kit as well as the spare tire can be done in two ways. By either coming through the back door and opening the back door as we have it set up here, or by accessing it through the side door, which is on the passenger side of the vehicle. Before accessing your spare tire, there may be additional things strapped to the floor that are here for your use during an event. In this case, we have a generator strapped in front of this spare tire, so we're just going to simply unstrap the generator and get it out of our way. And all we have to do is move it up to the side. In the toolbox in front of the trailer, you'll find a wrench that is provided for various things. One of those things is undoing the bolt for your spare tire. As you can see, this spare tire is locked into place with a bolt onto a bracket. This holds the tire securely to the wall while traveling and while you're using it during your events and things like that. To undo it, we just simply put the wrench on there, and we will loosen this bolt from the bracket, which will loosen the tab that is holding the tire to the wall. Some of these brackets are a little bit different and depending on which trailer you have, but the general idea is the same. It just depends. Some of these, this one was given to me when I got the trailer, but I've also built some of them myself, and I've done a little bit different design to make it a little bit easier for you. Once I have the bolt and the plate that holds the tire to the wall off, I'm going to set it aside with my wrench so that it's there so I can put the old tire back on here for travel. And then this tire will simply then just come off the wall, and I am ready to take this around to the side of the trailer where I need to change a tire and get going. Now that I have my spare tire ready to go, I have my lug wrench, my jack, and my wheel chocks, I'm ready to begin my repairs. First thing I'm going to do is, one, always keep your trailer attached to the tow vehicle. Make sure the tow vehicle is in park, your hazards are on, your safety triangles are set, and you have your emergency brake applied in the tow vehicle as well. having the trailer hitched to your tow vehicle will stable this trailer and stop it from rolling around. For additional support to hold this trailer in place while I am working on it, I'm going to take the wheel chocks, and on the off side, meaning the opposite side of where I'm doing my work, I am going to place these wheel chocks under the tires on the other side. To do that, I am going to simply just, you see the wheel chocks have a ridge on one side and a flat side on the other. I'm going to put the ridge to the ground so that it has some traction, just like a tennis shoe has traction. I'm going to place it to the front of the tire, and I'm just going to give it a good kick like that right there to snug it in there real nice. Again, I want to do this on the opposite side and not on the side that I'm working. I'm going to jack this up, so wheel chocks aren't going to do me much good if I jack this up, get the tire off of the ground. There's no tire there to be on the wheel chocks, because I'm going to be taking this tire right here off. So on the opposite side, that's what I'm going to do. And again, I have two wheel chocks. I'm going to do one on both sides just to further secure the trailer from moving around with me. Once I've done that, I'm going to start with my lug wrench, and I'm going to find the appropriate size. As you can see, I have 4 different sizes of wrench here, and I'm going to put this on. If the lug wrench, you can see how it's moving here, that means that this is not the correct size for this lug nut. So I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to try the next size down, and that one's there. So the first thing I'm going to do, because these lug nuts are tightened pretty tight, before I even jack the trailer up, all I'm going to do is just very slightly loosen that, and once it turns just a little bit, I know that that lug nut is loose, but it's not so loose that I'm taking the tire off now. I'm just making sure it's loose. The reason I do that before I jack the vehicle up is because, like I said, the trailer is secured. It's not going to move. It's attached to the tow vehicle. I have wheel chocks on, and this tire is on the ground. Therefore, I'm using the weight of the trailer to hold this tire in place while I loosen the initial tightness of these lug nuts. If I were to jack this wheel up first and then try to loosen the lug nuts, the wheel would just spin because the lug nuts are so tight that when you pull it, it just spins. So it's a little harder to do. So I always initiate the loosening of a lug nut on the ground. Yeah, you'll hear them crack like that when they're really nice and tight. And just until you can just get a little bit of a turn. You can see I'm not doing much there, just enough to say I know that that lug nut is moving and it's ready to come off. Once I've done that to all 5 lug nuts, I'm going to set my wrench aside, and I'm going to look for a good jacking point on this axle, on the same axle that the tire is, of which I'm going to change. In each of the mobile labs, you will find a floor jack that is provided for you to jack up trailer in order to change tires. Floor jacks are convenient because you can slide them under the trailer and not have to crawl under the trailer as much as you would if you had a different type of jack. To operate this jack, there are a few things that we need to look at. First is the handle back here. We have a handle here, and you have a jacking point right here, and you'll also see an adjustment screw right here for the hydraulics. If you want to jack the trailer up, you can see that in the end of my handle I have a little bar. That little bar goes in this groove for that this hydraulic adjustment right here. A hydraulic adjustment just simply shuts off a valve so that when it is shut off and I use the handle then to jack the jack, the fluid will not reverse into its reservoir, and then the jack will come on up and it'll hold it up. If I want to release it, I just take that and turn it to the left, and then you can see if it's not jacking up, chances are that your hydraulic adjustment screw is in a loose position or in an open position. To close that, I'm going to take the end of my handle, which has this little bar, and you'll see on this adjustment screw there is a groove. I'm going to put that little bar into the groove, and then I'm just going to simply twist the handle to the right and shut that valve off. Now when I do that, I can put the jack handle into the jack handle insert area, and you can see there's also a little knob here and a groove here. I'll stick the handle in there and turn it a little bit. Now this handle won't come out. This is nice because if you do shove this thing under a trailer somewhere, you can pull it back out using a handle alone without getting up under the trailer. Again, going back to the adjustment screw for the hydraulics, you can see that we have closed that off. And now if I jack this up, you can see that the jack head here is actually going up, and it will hold the trailer. To jack the trailer down or to release it, again, I'm going to put the handle on the adjustment screw for the hydraulics, and I'm going to turn it to the left. And then when you do that, you see that the jacking arm here will release. Underneath the trailer, you can see that I have my jack now. I'm going to set my jack head right there so that those grooves will go in line with the trailer axle. I'm going to jack my jack up so I get closer to the axle area. Now this is the axle of the flat tire on the side, same side as the flat tire. Oops. And now I've got contact. I can see that the axle is setting between those grooves and is securely in place. Now, when locating a place to pull over, it is also important in this, and now you can see how important it is to find also a very flat or as flat of a spot as you can in order to get ready to jack up your trailer. Once I have the jack in place and it's in contact with the axle, and I'm confident that the jack is secure to the ground and steady and in a sturdy spot, I'm just going to continue to jack the trailer up and until the tire comes off of the ground. You can see now that the tire is off the ground, it will spin, and so I am good to go. I do not need to take this any higher than maybe an inch or an inch and a half or so off of the ground. The lower it is, and it needs to be high enough for me to be able to change the tire, but the lower it is to where I can effectively change the tire and keep it low, the safer and more sturdy this trailer is. Now that I've loosened up my lug nuts, I have the jack underneath, it's in secure spot, and I've jacked this up to where this tire is now off of the ground. I'm going to take my lug wrench and I'm going to continue to take off all 5 lugs from this wheel. To do that, I'm going to simply find the same wrench side. In this case, it's the 13/16, and I am going to continue to take the lug nuts off. Very simple. All right. Now that I have the lug nut off, I want to show you, if you see, each of these lug nuts, this is going to be important when you put it back on, it's got a tapered end and a flat end. The flat end goes to the road side, the tapered end goes to the wheel end. Why that's tapered is because the hole in these tires are a little bit bigger than the lugs that are sticking out. And so they taper these lug nuts up so that when you do tighten this onto the wheel, it will center itself into the hole within the wheel and hold that tire in place. I'm going to set these up here for safekeeping and continue with the existing 4 lug nuts that we still have to take off. Once I have all 5 lug nuts off the tire that I'm changing, I'm just going to simply pull that tire off, put it over to the side for now, bring my spare over. I like to line up my lugs right here to where I have 2 of them even up top, so that when I pick this tire up to get it onto the lugs, I know kind of where they are because I get blinded a little bit from the tire. Line those up and slip the spare tire on. Once the spare tire is on, I'm going to take all 5 of my lugs and I'm just going to start my lug nuts and make them finger tight. Whoops. Also, and I'm also checking the threads on my lug nuts to make sure that I don't have dirt in there, because if you get dirt or grime inside your the threads of the lug nuts and you put it on the lug itself, sometimes you can mess up the threads. It's not that easy to do, but it can be done, and so it's good and to just make sure that everything's clean when you're putting it back together. Once I have all 5 on, I know that my tire is not going to come back off here now. I'll go ahead and grab my lug wrench again. I'm going to start with any one you choose, and I'm going to tighten that up. Put my foot under here. And then I'm going to go to the opposite side of the tire, the one that I just tightened up. And I want to get a lug nut tight on the opposite side of the tire, which is my second lug nut. This will allow, remember I showed you the tapered into the lug nut? By doing it on one side and then the other, it will allow for that tire to center itself, and it will center all the other lug nuts up so that when we tighten them, this wheel is in place where it needs to be. Okay, once I've done that, then I go ahead and tighten the rest of them up. You can see I'm using the tire and the momentum of the tire as it spins to help me get a good tight on those. I rotate my tire. I see now that all 5 of my lug nuts are tight. They're in the hole. The taper is inside the rim, and this tire is ready now to jack down and then finish tightening it once it's on the ground. Remember how we loosened or started loosening the lug nuts before we jack the trailer up to get the old tire off or the blown tire off? We're going to do the exact opposite here. Now I have them on here. You saw that I tightened them a little bit, but they're not tight enough to go down the road yet. What I'm going to do is, using my jack handle again and putting this bar onto the adjustment screw for the hydraulics, I'm going to turn it left or counterclockwise, and then you'll see that this tire will come down to the ground. All right, there we go. Once I've done that, I can lock my handle back into my jack, pull that out without having to get under the trailer, get my lug wrench, and now I can do my final tightening. You can see, you hear that? You want to hear that kind of talk to you a little bit. You know that you've really tightened that lug nut in there on the tire. And just by using your body weight, and just giving it a crank. All right, now once I've gotten the blown tire off of the trailer, the spare tire mounted, I'm going to take the blown tire and I'm going to put it back on the spare tire rack so it'll travel safely. It won't move around. I'm not just going to throw it into the trailer because it could roll around and do some damage to other things in there. Tires will move if they're not secured. When you're braking or taking off, they'll roll up and roll around. Once I have the spare tire secured in the trailer locked back up, I'm going to do a real quick inspection of the trailer again to make sure all the doors are locked and latches are in place before I start traveling again. Then I might want to go on to make a stop at a tire changing facility or a place that does tire work and have them double check this tire to make sure that the proper torque is on these lug nuts and that I'm ready to go. If you do have a blown tire, it might also be a good idea to go ahead and fix the tire that blew and just contact the state office 4-H STEM K-12 and let me know what happened, and we will work on reimbursing the repair of the tire. Thank you for joining me today. I wish you safe and happy travels, If you have any questions, do not hesitate to call the State Sim K-12 office, and I'll be happy to help you in any way that I can. Thank you and have a great day.